Okay, so I did my first at-home project, and when I was looking, I was instantly attracted to primary because I teach elementary school. Although I bet the secondary ones were amazingly fun. So when I started, I picked, I looked through them, and I really wanted to do this cardboard shoes because I love Pete Cat, but I did pick something that was a little bit easier. So I went with Edward the Emu because it had a paper craft. I decided to go with the paper animal craftivity because it was going to be easier, and I would have a variety of choice. And I wanted to do it with just a basic build with something that anybody has at their house, and that's paper. The first problem that I encountered was when I looked at the video, I didn't pay attention to the metric conversion. You had to convert centimeters to inches, so I instantly panicked. My brain went rogue, and I started immediately thinking of ways not to follow the directions. I am that kid in my class. And I wanted to make it more understandable for me. I needed to figure out, okay, if it says this, then I can do this. And I basically just ignored the video altogether after I'd watched it one time through and seen all the animals that she could make. I was like, oh, okay, well, I can do this on my own. And I just turned off the video and started to think about the basics. And the basics were an accordion fold and make a circle, easy peasy. It was, it seemed simple to me. So I went with the animal based on what paper that I had available. So I scrounged around and I had some white copy paper, but I did have some colored paper. My daughter is a studio art major at UNT, and so she's got a whole art area upstairs. And the first attempt to go rogue and just completely do it on my own and ignore measurement entirely was a tiger because I had yellow paper. And it ended up like this because you can't take a regular piece of paper and make the circle part out of it. So that was gone. Then I had some green paper. I thought, oh, I'll make the frog. And it was a rectangle. I'll just make a rectangle. So I cut a piece of paper, I stapled it, and you also cannot turn it into a circle. So there were 3 attempts on my own. And that was when I decided perhaps maybe I should follow some actual instructions. So I did. I didn't measure it out exactly as she had it, but I was thinking about the measurements, and I chose just a legal sized piece of white paper because that seemed to be about what I would need, a little bit smaller, but I figured that that would work. And I had white. So I ended up creating this little guy, a little bunny rabbit. And so what I was doing is I decided I didn't want to use glue like she used because I'm impatient. So I used tape and I used staples. And then I looked around the house, and you can see I put a carrot in his mouth, and it's orange and green. Those are leftover bits from my orange tiger and my failed green frog. So I decided to repurpose those anyway. I looked around the house to see what I had, and I used a lot of tape to fix them together. As far as what I learned that there are some people who need very explicit directions, and then there are others who are going to take whatever direction that you give and just make it your own. And I see that in my classroom all the time. I try to provide enough of a choice to where those rogue thinkers can go rogue, and the ones who really need explicit can have it very explicit. Also, learning measurements, they do matter. You can only fudge on those just a little bit. If I were making the video, I would have talked. This video was just music and her hands showing you what to do. And there are some people like myself who struggle with that a little bit. I am a visual learner, and that's great, but I also need somebody to talk me through it. For those auditory learners who need that, they would need some specific instructions to say, we're going to make an accordion fold. Here's how you do this, not just randomly watch it. And it was very fast. The project, the reason I like this one is it could be very, very flexible. You could easily, I'm going to switch my screen here. You could easily do this for any book that has an animal with it. I actually thought it would be a fun challenge to have the kids make up their own animal, or maybe do like a rolla type exercise where you start with the basic round accordion fold, and then they roll for the eyes they get, they roll for the ears they get, and create a crazy, you could do that with Where the Wild Things Are and create a monster. That would be kind of fun. give them some parameters and things that they can do. That might be kind of an interesting thing. Um, Overall, I thought it was a pretty easy craft to do. I would have liked to have actually made an emu. I was trying, if I had thought about it, I would have given some thought into how could I actually make an emu with a little fuzzy hair, feathers all around him. But overall, it was fantastic. I enjoyed it.